Hi, my name is Nick Burnham and I'm down here in the south of France in Cannes. Looking at this, it's the new Jeanneau Camarat 9 walk around. And this is a boat aimed very much at weekending, so you've got plenty of cockpit space. You've also got very good access to the foredeck, which is why they call it a walk around, because it's a centre console layout. But actually there's sleeping for two in here, plus another two on a dinette if you want it. And on the back of the boat, twin 250 horsepower Yamaha engines, which should give the boat about 45 knots flat out. So here in the cockpit it's all about adaptability. You've got a fixed seat at the back here, but there are flip out seats all the way around. So you can pull these out for extra seating if you want them. And then there are walkways that lead up either side onto the foredeck, which has a flat sunbathing area. This boat's also been fitted with a hard top, which gives you a nice bit of shade, and that's GRP, so that's pretty fixed and pretty sturdy. Also in the cockpit at the front you've got a small wet bar area with a one burner hob. Now down here in the cabin it's fairly minimalistic. You've got a dinette at the front here where the headroom is fairly limited because of course you've got that flat foredeck up top for your sunbathing area, but there's sitting headroom here, and in fact there's standing headroom just further back as you come down the steps, and that extends also into a fairly generously sized heads compartment. This table will drop, you can make this into a sleeping area, but also there is a double berth that runs back underneath the cockpit further back, and it's all open plan so it doesn't feel too claustrophobic. So as I mentioned earlier, on this particular boat we've got a pair of Yamaha 250 horsepower engines. They're 4.2 litre V6 each, so as you can imagine there's some serious torque there. In this boat, although it is a fairly substantial boat, that translates to some fairly serious performance. In fact, she'll get up onto the plane in about 5 seconds. And in terms of speed, well, you can, if you want, cruise where we are now at about 3,700 RPM, and that's about 26 knots. But in fact, she'll cruise a lot faster than that. Pick the revs up a little bit. 4,000 RPM, 4,200, that's about 30 knots. And that is very comfortable. This boat's very happy at that speed. But of course 4,200 RPM means there's still plenty to go. And if we nail it, she tops out at 45. And what's great about it is it feels really confidence inspiring at that sort of speed. It doesn't feel overpowered at all. We'll draw it back down. And it's the same story when you corner the boat. If I drop the speed back down, you can put it into a turn pretty much as hard as you like, and I tried this earlier, and with the engines trimmed right down she will not cavitate, she just grips and goes round, which for a twin engine installation is pretty impressive. As to the ride, well, it feels a solid boat, and it also feels very stable. I've barely touched the trim tabs while we've been out. All I've done is trim the engine slightly. I think it's fair to say that what Jeanneau have here, above all, is a serious driver's boat. Now, it's the day after our test of the Camarat 9.0WA. But what I've noticed they've got down here at the press event is a prototype boat, which is a Camarat 9.0CC. Now this is a boat that's not yet on the market. It's due to be launched this summer, and it's going to be officially launched at Cannes in September. It's based on the same hull, it runs the same engines, but there are some rather interesting differences on board. So we'll step on and I'll show you exactly what's different with this model. Okay, so on board at the back it is exactly the same. It has a table here. This one's fitted on telescopic legs, but in fact there'll be a removable version, so if you're using the boat for fishing you can get rid of that. And again, you've got the fold out seats on either side, so this is pretty much the same as the walk around. Where it changes is from here forward, because you've got a center console with the 3 seats here, and the big news is when you go up to the front, because rather than the flat sun pad, you've actually got a walk around area up here with a big seat in the center and more seating around the front. And what's nice is these high rails here make it a really high boat, so it's a really safe environment to be. And of course it means you can use the whole length of this boat very, very easily. Now naturally what you lose as the compromise is the cabin, but you don't lose it completely, because if we have a little look down here, you'll see that in fact they've snuck in a double berth up in the front. And what's a really nice feature is that you've actually got the heads in here as well, so you have got a proper functional heads, so you can overnight on it and you can use the loo. And there's even a space tucked down under the back here for storing cushions and so on. In fact, they're going to put a cushion in there apparently, so that some of the kids to sleep if they want to. And the final thing I'll show you, which is quite a neat idea, is that when you've had your day out on the water and you've finished with the boat, you can lift up the bow here and drop your cushions straight into the cabin out of the way. Anyway, it isn't actually available for us to test, but we think we've managed to wangle a ride, so we're going to hopefully take this one out and see how it compares to the other boat. So we're out on the water with Vincent Piel, who is the product manager of Jeanneau outboard boats. And this boat is so new that in fact we're not allowed to drive it. It is completely a prototype, but the hull and the outboards are exactly the same as the walk around that we drove yesterday. The only thing that's changed is the fact that it's a bit rougher out here today. It's a bit more swell, a bit more breeze, and Vincent is going to put this boat through its paces and show us exactly what it can do. There we go. Go for it, Vincent. There's go. 0 to 40 knots is 14 seconds, and like the other boat it winds out. In fact we had slightly more speed out of this one. We had 47 knots out of this boat, but just like the other one, where it really excels is the way that it goes to the water, because this is absolutely incredible.